start with the NFC Championship game. Philadelphia Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles, the eventual Super Bowl champions, were going to host the Washington Commanders.
Liar!
I know, right? But yeah, the rubber match. Eagles took the first game. Commanders took the second game. Here we go.
Thank you. Did they? And you've been the
I
commander.
knew that was gonna piss
If the
them off.
Broncos took down the Chiefs week 18, then the Commanders took down the Philly.
Everything I've heard on TV when they mention the Chiefs season, you know what everybody says? The 15-1 Chiefs, not the 15-2 Chiefs. The 15-1
I know what
Chiefs.
you're
Did
talking
the
about.
Broncos beat the Chiefs? The real Chiefs.
I don't watch ESPN.
Did the Commanders? Whatever.
Eagles took the first matchup,
Drives me crazy.
26-18, dominated Saquon in that game. 26 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Something I want to point out in the game that's very important is that Jalen Hurts was efficient, did not turn the ball over because he hadn't turned the ball over since like week 11, and did not score a touchdown or an interception. So, because I know it's a conversation like Eagles passing game, can they win like that? I just want to answer it off the bat. That's how they have been winning.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts hasn't been throwing touchdowns, and yet this was
He doesn't need to.
a game out of the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's how the Eagles play because just happens to have Saquon Barkley in the backfield.
You look at his stats. I mean, I know stats and everything. But look at his stats in the games that they played so far. Nothing impressive. Yeah. If you're just going off pure stats. But I mean, hey, they're the favorites to go to the Super Bowl.
And even like you've seen a lot of like the remaining quarterbacks. Honestly, Hurts probably is last. But Hurts is, that's just if it's a statistical battle, yeah, sure, Hurts is last, but he's one of the last 4 again.
The supporting cast, he would probably be first.
So, but let's start with this Commanders Eagles game. Going into the rubber match here, I think there's some glaring storylines. Number one, of course, the biggest story in the NFL right now is Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterback, making a run for Washington, turn around a franchise that has been just a big old pile of shit for about 3 decades. And so that's why I think he deserves every bit of praise. I think he's a little, I don't want to say overrated, but we're treating him like, okay, this guy's Hall of Famer already. But I think he deserves it just because what he's doing for the franchise. Like how many quarterbacks you know are turning around a franchise? You know, like
it's kind of the Dan Campbell effect when he went to the
exactly.
Lions. Franchise turned around completely.
Second matchup, the Commanders won. Hurts played four plays, famously. Kenny Pickett played the game, and the Commanders won the last 6 seconds. Jane Daniels did have 5 touchdowns against a healthy Eagles defense and 2 interceptions. But I don't know. Are you comfortable putting an asterisk on that? Like
on that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the full
mean,
team.
a starting quarterback.
It wasn't the full team, but
that seems to be not a popular opinion among Commanders fans.
But what sucks now is that Hurts, no matter what they say, is playing hurt. Like, and then so is AJ Brown. So it's all the same thing. Like Hurts is going to be limited either way. I know him and
Quinion Mitchell
were listed as full
practice,
but still, like they've been listed as full like all year, and they're still hurt.
Yeah, they're going to play.
And what sucks is that Hurts looked good. He had a 45-yard touchdown
he
last week.
Really well.
I haven't seen him run like that in years.
He got bent over like. That was wild.
Yeah,
it's bent back.
His left leg, right leg.
Yeah, but hopefully, I think if he loses his mobility, he just doesn't have that part of his game. It's going to be tough to win because he's just not throwing the ball that well. The last game, he just straight up missed guys. He was eating it and taking sacks.
He's been hurt.
Terrible sacks.
What also doesn't help either is when your number 1 is playing the way he's playing right now.
Well, AJ Brown's
That's
hurt.
the problem with AJ Brown's he's hurt.
Yeah.
And there's obviously not a lot of separation there. There's not a lot of excelling there. He had a huge drop for a touchdown. And AJ Brown's not playing his best. Jalen Hurts isn't playing his best. Luckily, Saquon plus the defense has just been enough.
No, it's been enough.
And so these 2 defenses are tied in a -6 turnover ratio for the playoff series. And so it's been about turnovers for the Eagles. But for the Commanders, it's kind of all been about turnovers because the defense really isn't playing that well.
Yeah, defense is playing better.
They're allowing 7.2 yards per play, which is the most of any playoff team.
Well, they're
not playing well. They're turning the ball over.
And
they're scoring a lot of points.
The Commanders defense, right?
Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, they've always been a bend don't break this year. That's kind of their. Like they're not. They've had great stats all year.
What's winning them games is that they're scoring a buttload of points.
Yeah, and they had 5 turnovers last game.
Yeah.
But, 7.2 yards per play, like I said, worst of any playoff team. And then 8.7 yards per carry against Jahmyr Gibbs. And in rolls Saquon Barkley, Mr. 200 yards last game, 2,000 yards in the season. And so we can start there. Eagle advantages, Eagle disadvantages. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles' offensive line. That I know Jonathan Allen, Payne, those are good guys, but when you like defense and running the ball wins championships, and we have the O line like that, that's the biggest thing. That's why the Eagles are who they are, because that O line is priority 1, 2, and 3. I know Mailata had a bad game last week or an okay game last week. I think he
and also
bounces.
what's his name is pretty good.
Yeah, no, but stop. I think he bounces back. I think that's how the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl is through the offensive line.
I think Commanders have I think they've passed a lot of the tests on their way to where they are now.
Yeah.
This final test is, can you meet the physicality of a Super Bowl caliber team?
And honestly, they're putting a lot on Jane Daniels. It's all on Jane Daniels.
A ton on Jaden Daniels now.
And it's not fair, but it's just how they got here.
Well, what's not fair about it?
Like, cause like I'm gonna pick Philly, but like it's just rookie quarterback. You're asking, or they're asking him to do a lot. That's what's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, they are ahead of schedule. Year one, they weren't supposed to be here. Obviously, that whole story. But with his next touchdown pass, he's gonna break the all-time rookie record for touchdowns in a playoff run in rookie season. So
Good for you, Daniels.
like he's starting to do like
Tell you what, man.
massive things now.
If he wins
he beats Philly in Philly,
I don't know what we're gonna do with him.
you think the NFL? I feel like the NFL wants no part. Well, they like Jane Daniels though.
Yeah. If
I feel like a Washington Super Bowl is a little bit of a disaster.
no, but if Jaden Daniels beats the Philly, he's the hype is gonna be like he's like a top 3, top 5 quarterback. That's gonna be the hype. I'm not sure if that's a reality,
be a
but
bummer.
it's gonna be the hype.
I don't want to make
if he
another
does it
real.
in the same fashion that he's been doing.
Yeah,
he tosses
'cause
4 or 5 touchdown
He's
passes
the entire offense
in the NFC Championship game
Yeah.
against a divisional team. Yeah, that's
which could be a possibility because it's a divisional team.
I mean, it happened like a month ago. It happened. So
Yeah.
it's very much a possibility.
Noticeable injury from the last game is Sam Cosmi.
Yeah, he's
the
out.
best offensive lineman they have, the guard, and most importantly, the guy who would have lined up across from Jalen Carter. And so I think that's a huge blow for the Washington Commanders if they could flush Jaden Daniels out of the pocket early. I kind of don't want him on the run though.
Yeah.
Right?
You would want to keep him in the pocket.
Like that's good. It's going to be imperative that our edges can set the edge and not let this guy break the pocket and go make plays because he's terrifying.
Yeah.
On the wing where he could run like a legit wide receiver one, and also he's been deadly with his all levels of the passing game.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'm curious to see if I would just blitz the hell out of him if I was Fangio because I would want to see this kid because the offensive line isn't great, so you want to put pressure on him early. But Fangio doesn't really do it. He plays that shell, that classic shell defense that makes you be patient with it.
Do you guys want to guess the line? You know it.
All right, it was 6. It was 6, right?
6.5 or something, right?
Okay, so you know it, so you went and spoiled the game. Piece of shit. I was
also
gonna
know-
ask him to guess.
You're asking me, right?
Do you guys?
He did look over this direction.
It is -6. Are you kind of surprised by that?
No.
Yes, honestly.
I thought it'd be closer.
No.
Oh, -6.
No, I thought it'd be more.
Really?
I think this is
Philly at home.
These are two teams. Yeah, Philly's at home. These are two lopsided teams. It is going to take the game of his life.
Yeah.
From Jaden Daniels for the Commanders to beat this
Well,
team.
if you think about it, like that's 100% true because that's how they won the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
It took the
yeah.
game of his life, and he won it with 6 seconds left.
I mean, there was a ton of there was Jalen Hurts obviously going down in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
There was CJGJ getting the bogus
Oh, my God. Remember
getting
that?
tossed out of the game. It was ridiculous. So there was
Racism.
so much air was sucked out of the arena.
Yeah.
in that last game. That
Racism?
yeah, I think it was a black guy who threw him out too. So black on black crime.
Oh, black on black crime. It's the worst one.
And I saw somebody bring it up today. I forget which network or which show, bringing up Saquon's stats that last game. He rushed for 106 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Rest of the game, 22 yards. It's Kenny Pickett's behind center.
Right.
Like, what? Do
They
you,
just
why?
stacked the
Why
box.
is this a stat? This
Right.
doesn't tell us anything. So I think I think this is Philly's game to lose.
So then we'll segue into our picks. Let's do our picks and why. Want to start with us? Are you ready?
No.
Awesome.
Yes,
we're
I'm ready.
recording
Yeah,
a preview right now.
yeah. I'm gonna pick Philly. I'm just pick the home team with the better better defense.
You have a score?
No, I don't think it's gonna be a lot of points on either side. It's a divisional game. It's gonna be like 20-16. There's gonna be some weird score. There's gonna be like a weird turnover early. It's a divisional game. No matter what you think about either side, they've seen each other so much. Jane Daniels is good enough to keep the offense above, but Fangio and that defense is I think Eagles by 4 or by 3.
I have it 30-24 Commanders. I do have a high scoring game because
Commanders?
last match. No, Eagles.
Oh,
I have last matchup 36-33. The first matchup 26-18. So these teams have put up points against each other, and I think the Eagles are going to about to put up points against the Commanders. And but I think just that defense, Daniels doesn't make enough plays. Eagles kind of let a couple of turnovers slip through their hands last game, and that is the name of the game for this game. It's turnovers. If Jalen Hurts takes care of the ball like he has been, and no one puts it on the ground for the Eagles are going to win this game. But I think turnovers can open the door because Jaden Daniels just isn't turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And he's throwing for a high volume of touchdowns. But I think it's the Eagles' game to lose. So I got the Eagles 30-24. What do you guys got?
I'll go and go first right here. Last week, I don't think so much Goff was exposed for being a bad quarterback. 'Cause I don't think that at all about Jared Goff. I think the Commanders put him in a spot where you had to play perfect ball to win that game. Kind of like what I can see them doing against the Eagles. If you want, I mean, Saquon Barkley, no one's going to stop him. Saquon's the best in the league right now. The way you slow him down, though, is keeping the ball out of his hands. And the way you do that is scoring a lot of points, which is what the Commanders are able to do right now. If the Commanders can take an early lead and make this a shootout game and put the game in Hurts' hands, I think that's their best way of winning the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick them because I think that's the only way they can win the game. Believe it or not, a shootout, because at this point, I don't think it's crazy to say I trust Daniels over Hurts in a shootout. But close though, right? I mean, is it? I mean, I'm talking about right. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
I just think the Commanders, if they're going to win, and I'm probably going to hate myself if they do win. I said I had it in the bag. I just didn't say it. I think the Commanders can win if they take an early lead and they just keep what they did with the Lions. They took the Lions completely. They couldn't run trick plays. They couldn't do any of those things anymore because they were always in crunch time. We have to go down and score. If we have 5 series in the second half, we're going to have to score a touchdown on at least four of them. And I think if they do that to the Eagles, put the ball in Hurts' hands. We've already talked about it. Hurts has done a great job not turning the ball over, but he does have a history of when you do put the game in his hands, those turnovers can happen. You just said it right now. Turnovers is going to be the name of the game here. If they can create a turnover, that's how they're going to win. I know it sounds like I want the Commanders to win. I think Philly's going to win this game. I think they're better. I think if they could do the exact opposite, they're not going to let this team breathe.
I got Philly by a mile.
Okay.
Something's got to give, all right? So Commanders are turning the ball over. The Eagles' offense is not turning the ball over. Which of these teams do you think is going to break here? I think it's going to be the team with a rookie quarterback, the team that hasn't been there ever. I mean, this iteration of this team.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, then we have a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl, and holy crap.
What's that? First one since Ben Roethlisberger, I think?
Is it?
Yep.
I think so, 2006 or something like that, yeah.
You flipping your pick?
Yeah.
Put your name on it, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll flip it. Honestly, sometimes football doesn't make sense. I think this game was not going to make sense. I think Commanders come out in some weird way.
It's gonna take some weirdness.
Yeah, it's gonna be
in
some
the
weird
first 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's gotta be
And it's perfectly fine too, because this is a divisional game.
Like-
so
like a
weirdly,
blocked
in those
punt
division
or-
games, stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah, it's gonna be some weird shit. I don't know. Sometimes the more talented team doesn't beat the hot team, like in the playoffs. So Eli Manning got the 2 Super Bowls doing that, just being the hot team. So I'll pick the hot team here. If I'm right, I look like a genius.
You know, screw it. No, I'm gonna be with you. I'm going with Commanders.
Let's
Never mind.
go,
I'm going with
Commandos.
Surprise.
I'm
Do what you want to do. Pick against the Big Bros team.
Yeah.
I get it.
I picked you guys all year.
It's the hot team.
You really did. You've been riding with us
I've
all
been
year.
riding the Eagles, but this is the Commanders are the hot team right now with the hot quarterback.
It's fun. Let them have their fun.